Her mind blocked out all other sound, and their words soon became clear. Oh, what the frick? Oh! The girl caught the tip of her shoe on one of the steps, and she immediately staggered. Oh, frick! Isn't that all kinda your fault, Daichin? I mean, isn't the main person who's calling her annoying your girlfriend? Yo, what the frick? Oh my gosh, yo. How's it going, everybody? HoodlaMutt here, back with some more Chaos Head Noah. And last time, oh man, we found the person. Oh, well, we're pretty sure. Well, I don't even know if we're pretty sure. Someone claimed to be Shogun, and it was a small child who was extremely old in a wheelchair, in a delusion that we had of just complete nothingness of Shibuya. We had a delusion where we were a killer in a store, but it seemingly meant nothing. I don't know. And after this Shogun character kind of told us that he was trying to wake us up, he left, and then we came back to our senses. We were in the middle of Shibuya, and people were making fun of us, and Dimi was there. And she got us out of the crosswalk, was being all nice to us, but we couldn't handle the fact that that someone was being nice to us. At least that's the only way I could interpret it. And then we left, but Takumi did not leave without at least saying thank you first. So he's seemingly coming around to Sakihara not being a demon girl, kind of, maybe, who knows, with Takumi, you know. After that, well, there wasn't an after that. That's where we're at now. But I was trying to think if there was, like, literally anything else. Well, Ban, and that's kind of what we're probably going to be talking about now. Ban and Suwa went to Takumi's elementary school and tried to get information from him, from the people that were there about him, I mean. And they couldn't get a lot, but I think the important thing that we got was that maybe, seemingly, by the way that the teacher, the faculty member, whoever it was, by the way that he mentioned that the bus accident that happened when Takumi was younger was an accident, quote unquote, maybe it wasn't just an accident. That's kind of what we're wondering. So, but that's all we kind of know right now. Oh yeah, and we also tried to see if Grim knew about the potential prank call that we got, and he didn't know anything about it. So with that, now we're here, probably with Ban and Suwa is my guess, in the police station investigation headquarters, whatever this was called. So without further ado, let's just get back into this, shall we? To think that the 3 investigative divisions would actually be merged into one. Staring at the detectives gathered in the Shibuya Police Department's conference room, Ban Yasuji thought that to himself. The Inokashira Line Shibuya Station public bathroom homicide case, or, as the media called it to amuse themselves, the Vampire case, had caused an increasingly serious drop in manpower. When 3 brutal murders occurred within the same jurisdiction within the same period of time, the possibility of a single perpetrator became more and more evident. A suggestion had been raised that the Cornelius Tower mass suicide case be handled by the Juvenile Division, but since the media had been treating it as a part of New Gen, there was the possibility that if the police treated the case differently, they would be subjected to criticism. Therefore, it was only natural that the central office had chosen the only remaining option: to merge the several investigation headquarters. With this integration now in place, the group was reviewing the series of New Gen cases one by one. The projection screen at the front of the conference room displayed a series of photographs of the crime scenes, one after another. Suwa had been chosen to hold the presentation. He had stayed up all last night going over the documents endlessly. Good work, Bon muttered internally, chin resting in his hands. The Cornelius Tower mass suicide case went down on September 7th. Took place on. Of the 4 incidents that the mass media has begun referring to as New Gen, it was the first to occur. At 11:30 p.m., a group of 5 men and women fell from the helipad on the roof of Shibuya's Cornelius Tower. There were no survivors. All 5 were underage high school students, 3 male, 2 female. Out of the 5, 2 attended the same school, while the remaining 3 each attended different schools. The autopsy of the bodies revealed that each of the 5 had small traces of flesh embedded beneath their fingernails, along with scratches on the palms of their hands. That was another thing, too. I forgot that the Shogun that we're thinking might be our internal monologue or our past self, our something. We're thinking it's us. At least I'm thinking it's us. Seemingly said that until we can like if we don't wake up, people will continue to die, whatever that means. So that's probably meaning that these new gen cases are going to keep happening until we wake up, whatever that actually means. So that was something else that was important to note. From this information, we can assume that the 5 fell while holding hands. There was no sign of any suicide notes on the roof. It appears that the 5 victims all came together after school and headed toward Cornelius Tower together. As for further proof that there is more to this incident than a mere group suicide, the roof of the Cornelius Tower is off limits to all non-personnel. At the time of the incident, the door to the rooftop was locked, and none of the 5 victims' fingerprints were found on the doorknob. The key to the rooftop was not found among any of the 5 victims' belongings either. This suggests that someone other than the victims may have been present at the scene before and after the incident occurred. The investigation is proceeding under the assumption that the third party possessed the key to the door, locked it, and left before or after the incident. We have already conducted interviews of all Cornelius Tower Hotel employees, and nearly every one of them has an alibi. We are now in the process of interviewing the employees of the companies hosted in the tower. Currently, we have yet to find a motive for any of the 5 victims to commit suicide. For 4 out of the 5 victims, those related to them in some way, such as family members, friends, school teachers, and so forth, all declare unanimously that there was no reason for any of them to commit suicide. The slideshow swapped to a picture of the second case, the Shibuya Station undergrad and fetus homicide case. Gross. Next, let's discuss the case known colloquially as the man-child case. The incident occurred on September 19th, 12 days after the group dive incident. The first to discover the body was an employee of a karaoke box located near the scene. The body was found at approximately 5 a.m. The victim is 21-year-old Konoe Chizuo, a third-year college student living in Shibuya Ward. Oh, that's why I said Konoe before. I forgot where I'm like, I could have swore I remember the name Konoe, but yeah, I was thinking Konoe was Kozue, so. The victim was already dead when he was found. The time of death is estimated to be around 1 a.m. on the 19th, about 4 hours before the body was found. The body's abdomen was unnaturally swollen, and a fetus was discovered inside it upon examination. The autopsy revealed that the victim's abdomen had been cut open while they had still been alive, and the fetus had then been inserted inside. The fetus is believed to have been already dead at that point in time. The victim died after his abdomen was sewn back together. We found traces of thread being torn from the wound, leading us to believe he had been scratching at the sutures prior to his death. The fetus was found to have been developed for at least 8 months, which leads us to believe that it was removed from the mother's body via C-section. The mother of the fetus has not yet been determined, and whether they are alive or dead is similarly unknown. Forensic analysis of the DNA has shown that the fetus and the victim are unrelated. To support this, the fetus's blood type is B, and the victim's blood type is A. Suwa took a breath. He seemed exhausted from all the talking. Furthermore, he must have been awfully nervous giving a presentation in front of so many senior detectives. Next, we have the third case, the Maru Yamacho crucifixion homicide case. After a short delay, the next slide displayed a photo of the crucifixion crime scene. This is a photo of the crime scene. The incident occurred on September 29th. The victim is 56-year-old Oda Hisashi, a professor at Toto University. The first to discover the body was a man living in an apartment near the crime scene. The victim's cause of death was strangulation. After they were killed, the body was pinned to the wall with 10 small metal spikes. As you can see, the body has next to no external wounds. Oh, that's interesting because that's not what we saw. We saw something completely different. He had like hundreds of them, right? That doesn't add up. What did we see then? Seemingly we saw this same murder, but we saw it differently. Why did we see it differently? Huh. Okay. A few of the spikes penetrated the body, but the spikes were generally affixed to the victim's clothing. The media is referring to it as the crucifixion, the bloody rare stake, or other similar names, despite the fact that there was no bleeding at all. Oh, see? So there wasn't any blood. We saw tons of blood. We saw tons of blood and tons of spikes. What does that mean? Was that a delusion? No, it can't be. There's something else going on here. I don't know why we're only seeing, or I don't know why we were seeing more than what actually happened, but that's kind of wild. The spikes are sold by the German company, oh gosh, forgive me any German viewers, Kraunsnagel? Kraunsnagel? In actuality, they are stakes with a distinctive, long, cross-like shape. As the killer ultimately elected to use cruciform objects, the investigation is proceeding while examining the crime from a religious angle. We have received several testimonies detailing that between 9 and 9:30 p.m., the time the incident was occurring, the continuous sound of nails being driven into the wall could be heard for tens of minutes in the vicinity of the crime scene. As the victim's estimated time of death is at almost exactly the same time as this, we believe that the victim was likely killed right where the body was found, or somewhere near the scene. In addition, although the statement may not be entirely credible, we have received testimony claiming that a female student from Sueme Private Academy was seen at the crime scene. Ooh, forgot about that one. Lastly, there is the Inokashira Line Shibuya Station public bathroom homicide case, known colloquially as the Vamp Buyer case. The incident occurred on October 10th, and the body was discovered by a station attendant at around 5:30 a.m. The victim's identity remains unknown. There were no belongings left behind that may point toward their identity. The time of death was estimated to be between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. the day prior. I wonder if the times probably matter, right? I'm assuming they probably matter, but I can't remember them all. I can't keep them all straight, so. All blood had been drained from the body, and it was left in a state resembling that of mummification. Definitely looks like that he got jellified. It's exactly what it looks like to me. As you are already aware, this photograph was taken by an unknown individual and was sold on an internet auction site about 15 minutes before the body was found. As he listened to Suwa's explanation, Bon gave a light click of the tongue. Seems like death is what's in these days. Huh. Oh shoot, that was the end of chapter 3. Okay. Chapter 4, Die Sword. Uh-oh. Okay. Sign City was a pair of buildings located just south of the Shibuya Scramble Crossing. A small plaza rested in front of the entrance to the east building. While it was not nearly as big as the ones in front of Hachiko, the Moyai statue, or other popular destinations, it still found itself used quite often as a meeting place. Even now, around a dozen people were staring at their cell phones, waiting for their engagements to begin. Oh, hey, Sena. What the heck? Among those few, only one girl wore an oddly stern expression on her face as she idled. A high school student known as Aoi Sena. She was standing next to the escalator leading down from the Inokashira line station. She leaned her back against a nearby white pillar as she thoroughly scanned the environment with her gaze. In contrast to both the sharpness of her gaze and the season, she was nibbling on a popsicle, which in turn made her appear incredibly charming to the casual observer. In truth, the girl was not waiting for anyone, but was instead quietly observing the passers-by. From where she was standing, she could see all the way to the Jumbotron located at Scramble Crossing. A music video from a famous singer was being displayed on it, and on the lower portion of the screen, a news ticker was reporting the latest information on the recent string of incidents, colloquially referred to as New Gen. Not a day went by without New Gen-related news. It was everywhere. TV, newspapers, the internet, weekly magazines, jumbotrons, electronic billboards. Everywhere. Although Sena had absolutely no interest in the phenomenon, she would often overhear people speaking about it as she passed by them on the streets of Shibuya. Whose eyes are those eyes? Over the past few days, she had begun to see several people wearing t-shirts with those words emblazoned on them. In Shibuya, the phrase had become popular as an obscure meme, and it was now starting to really take off. Despite the brutal scene the words originated from, people happily walked on down the streets, raving about how well the shirts were selling at souvenir shops in Harajuku, a clear indication of how disinterested people were in anything other than themselves. That's kind of poetic. Sena snorted quietly in a contemptuous display, finished the last bite of her popsicle, and closed her eyes softly without losing her stern expression. She listened carefully to the noise of the city. An abundance of different sounds billowed in front of the station on the Sunday afternoon. The roar of trains arriving at the platform, the blaring horns of taxis, people walking and talking, the background music coming from the jumbotrons and from inside the Sign City stores, the announcements telling people how to safely ride the escalators. The sounds were never allowed to end. Before one sound finished, another one would appear, creating a multi-layered discord that rang throughout the station. In the midst of all the discordant noise, Sena focused her attention only on the people's voices. Her mind blocked out all other sound, and their words soon became clear. Oh, what the frick? Whoa! Wasn't ready for that. Whoa! 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 That's clear to you? Stop the voices! Stop the voices! Ah!
でもあれじゃねこれってニュージェネの犯人に殺してくださいってアピールしてるようなもんじゃん 俺もいよいよ全国デビューか。
Whoa. That laugh. Oh my gosh. Holy crap. A short click of the tongue escaped from Sena's mouth, and she stopped listening soon after. There was nothing of value to be found in any of the noise. After all, noise was simply that. Noise. This feeling of someone's gaze on me. Am I imagining it? Once more, Sena examined her surroundings. For a while now, she had been feeling a repulsive sensation, like cold fingers caressing her spine. A gaze being cast upon her by an unknown entity. One with which she was unable to pinpoint exactly what the source was. Sena pushed herself off of the pillar she was leaning against. Then, as if she had just remembered something, she stared down at the popsicle stick in her hand. Looks like I lost, huh? Gradually growing more and more discontent, she wrinkled her brow and began to walk quickly toward the station. That was kind of wild. What the heck? I couldn't pick out those words, so... Dang. That sky. Why is it so blue that it makes me want to cry? Because someone wished for it to be. I didn't wish for it. No, but I did. Oh, hi. Because this place is your image world, but at the same time, it is mine as well. Okay, so I guess it was a girl's voice this whole time. Hey, that sky, where is it? Wherever you wish for it to be. Is it okay for me to wish for it? Okay. Good morning. Come on, it's time to get up. Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey. Seratan was calling me. Of course she was. Last night's ep of Bloodtoon was awesome. Seratan played a huge part in it, and there was a super hot kiss scene. The animation quality was practically movie tier too. If you wake up, I'll give you a good morning kissy poo. Wait, what am I saying? Stupid, stupid. I didn't mean it, you dope. Seratan was calling me. Plus, she was saying such moe things that I couldn't not wake up. I tore the blanket off my body and got up from the sofa with a groan. Hey! Just how long are you gonna sleep for, you big dum-dum? If you keep on sleeping, I'm gonna bash you with my samurai condenser and wake you up real good. The moment I turned off my alarm clock, the voice of Seratan that had been echoing throughout the room disappeared. It's an alarm clock? What the frick? Is that... Do they actually have alarm clocks like that? Yo, what the frick? That's really wild. What in the world? That's goofy. Morning, Seta. The Seta alarm clock I had was very useful. If I didn't turn it off, the volume would slowly get louder and louder. And if I still didn't get up, an obnoxious buzzer sound would ring out. I wanted it to be Seratan who woke me up in the morning, so I made a point to wake up and turn it off before the buzzer. I'd only failed to do so once or twice so far. After all, being woken up by Seratan was a great way to start the day. Waking up was the absolute worst. I'd played Vidya until dawn, and the couch had been extremely uncomfortable once I actually had gone to sleep, but having her to wake me up helped alleviate some of that pain. Today was a school day. I'd skipped a day last week, so my minimum attendance chart was really starting to fall apart. With the chart, I was only slated to go twice this week, but because of that deviation, I was stuck with having to go 3 times instead. I didn't want to go, but it'd be much worse if I didn't. If I missed any more days, I wouldn't be able to graduate. Then again, whether or not I graduated made no difference to me, to be honest. Just a moment ago, I'd been having a dream with Demi in it. It was a strange dream. One that felt terribly wistful. One that felt terribly lonesome. One that felt terribly sad. Wait, so he thinks it was a dream? Or did he have a different dream? Okay. And one that felt terribly distant. Would Demi come to school today? I'd been thinking about it so often that I'd even forgotten to play ESO yesterday. Okay, no, so it did still happen. Okay. So he's just been actually dreaming about her. Weird. I don't think it's any like coincidence that Demi and Seratan both have pink hair as well. They kind of look very similar to each other, you know? I wonder if that's going to come into play. And he's like super into this fictional Seratan character, but I wonder if it's because he actually really likes Demi in this like other alternate world line, but he had to create like a different, you know, version of her in the one that he's currently in or something. I don't know. I don't really know, but it just, I find it interesting that they both have pink hair, and I think they both have similar eye color, so. Okay. There'd been the appearance of Shogun, and the delusion where every person in Shibuya disappeared. But I was barely giving either of those things any thought. It had to have just been a delusion of mine. There was no way Shogun could be such an old man. And the idea of people just disappearing from Shibuya or whatever was completely ridiculous. So there was no point worrying about it. It'd been a horribly realistic delusion, sure. But the fact that I'd allowed myself to fall for something so unrealistic so easily, and get all freaked out about it, was just embarrassing. But regardless, above all else, I was thinking about Demi. The girl I had been calling the demon girl until only a couple days ago. Why did that make you change your mind about her? What? I don't get it. Most of what I'd felt back then was shaky and surreal, as if it were some sort of dream. But I could still vividly remember the sensation of Demi's body embracing my own. If she hadn't done that, I could have gone insane and lost myself completely. Why had Demi saved me? Maybe because we really were friends. I didn't have any memories of us being classmates now, let alone since first year, nor did I remember going to the movies with her along with Miss Mikun. But the way she treated me was definitely how you'd treat a real close friend. She'd even seemed like she'd been close to crying when she held me. That, at the very least, I didn't think was an act. That was the first time I'd ever seen a girl care about, let alone cry over, an otaku freak like me. When she treated me like that, all of my fears and suspicions were blown away in an instant. In fact, it made me feel like I might fall in love with her. No, I obviously couldn't let myself do that. Confusion invaded every corner of my mind. How was I supposed to act around Demi from now on? Was Demi my ally? Or my enemy? Was Demi the new gen culprit? She'd saved me. That was an undeniable fact. but it was just as much a fact that I had seen her standing still as could be at the scene of the crucifixion, covered in blood. Yeah, but was it, or was it a delusion, right? On my way to school, I stopped by Shoto Park. Is he gonna run into Yua? I wonder. After what happened with Yua, I'd put a stop to my habit of eating breakfast there before going to school. There was no way I could feel even remotely relaxed when I thought that Yua could be watching me from anywhere. And even if I ignored that, if she came up to talk to me, she would start going off about her irritating, delusional, schizo bullcrap all over again. I didn't want anything to do with a girl like her. Yua was Themi's underling. Sure, my original guess may have been incorrect. But that didn't mean Yua wasn't my enemy. It was still possible that Shogun was the boss of the whole thing, and Yua was one of his underlings. Either way, I knew I'd be better off staying as far away from her as I could. And yet, I found myself coming here today for some reason. I examined my surroundings carefully to make sure that I couldn't see Yua anywhere. And once I knew the coast was clear, I slowly sat down on my usual bench. I took a bite of the chocolate bread I'd just bought from the convenience store, then looked out at the pond. There was next to no wind, and the surface of the water was calm and serene. I could see the occasional shadows of carp-esque fish gliding through the murky water. The park was unusually empty today. It was a very quiet spot. As my gaze wandered across the park, I couldn't help but think about Themi. To be honest, I'd been dreading going to school today. I knew I'd have to face her if I did. That was the real reason why I was stalling at the park. I felt like I'd said a lot of awful things to her. Yeah, but you don't care, right? You don't care about anybody. Just like you don't care about Yua. You're like, oh, I can't trust Yua. But now, the person that you thought was for sure the killer that you saw actually kill someone, you're like, yeah, maybe she's okay because she gave me a nice little hug. Ooh, I felt kind of nice when she hugged me. He's like, he talks about Yua being a schizo. He's a freaking schizo, bro. What the frick? Anyway, I'm still salty about the whole Yua thing, even now. And yet, the smile on her face never faltered, and she always treated me like I was a close friend. And I was sure that, when I went to school today, she would keep on doing that as if nothing had ever happened. She'd smile and talk to me like we were friends, pretending that she didn't even care at all about what happened in front of 10-7. It was hard to put it into words, but I felt a little bit annoyed by her constant cheerfulness. Yet at the same time, I also ended up feeling more cheerful myself when I was with her. I wasn't sure how to act once I did run into her. Dude, you only, have had this feeling one time. What do you mean? You're acting as though this is, one of those romantic movie moments where you saw her and then everything is, different now. I don't get it. Any other time you freaked out when you saw her, so why do you feel like she's, different after just one encounter? I don't get it. It was true that I didn't think she was a demon anymore. But honestly, I didn't think of her as a friend either. See, you have no reason, really. You still don't understand anything to not think that she's actually a psycho killer or actually your friend. You don't have enough info. You're just going by, day to day, basically. It's oh, yesterday she was a demon, she's a demon, but today she's my friend, except I don't really want to call her my friend. It's that's such flawed logic. Miss Mikun had said that she and I had been really close classmates for the past year and a half, but I didn't remember anything like that at all. Maybe it really was because of the person controlling me. But making my memories of Themi, and only Themi, disappear with pinpoint accuracy like that, there was no way that was possible. Upon entering the school building, I lowered my head even farther toward the ground. As was my usual MO, I kept close to the wall and walked slowly toward the staircase. My class was on the 3rd floor. Getting up there was a pretty big hassle. They could really use an escalator or something. Oh, Kozue. When I reached the foot of the staircase, I spotted a girl climbing unsteadily up the stairs. She was dragging her right leg a little as she walked. Oh no. Maybe she'd twisted it. Her petite body swayed from side to side. She looked extremely unstable. As other students passed by her one after the other, the girl slowly continued to climb, exactly one step at a time. Watching her from below, I would be able to see her panties any second now. Dude, can you think about nothing other than... We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. Crap! If I kept this up, I'd be labeled a total pervert. Last thing I needed was to go in front of a mirror and see myself as Bill Clinton or some crap. Bill Clinton?! Yo, what the frick? Oh my gosh. That's funny, they actually name dropped him. Whoa. Yo, okay. That's kind of funny. With that thought in mind, I stepped onto the stairs in order to pass the girl. But right when I did... Ooh! The girl caught the tip of her shoe on one of the steps, and she immediately staggered. Oh, frick! She then fell down so hard, you could almost hear the crash sound effect. Fortunately, she ended up falling on the landing, so she hadn't fallen down the entire staircase. She was still down on her knees from the pain, though, and was staying pretty still. Could this be a flag? Dude, come on, man. Yeah, no way. Even if it was, calling out to her or anything even remotely similar would be impossible for me. So, I hurriedly slipped past her. Are you for real? Dude, you're such a freaking nerd, bro. You're so freaking dumb. What a tool. What an actual tool. Oh my gosh. I wanted to help her. I didn't even get a choice. Any other time they give me a choice and it's like, oh, you're freaking, staring at your phone. You want to make a choice, just to like answer it or not, like just to pick up the dumb thing. But then someone actually needs help and it's like, yeah, no, you don't get a chance. You don't get a chance to do anything. Gosh dang it. Sorry, but you should get some womanizer who's actually into 3D to help you. Someone like Miss Mikun. You really shouldn't rely on me. But the girl was staying curled up on the ground so motionlessly, I started to get a little worried. I was halfway up the stairs when I slowly turned back around to check on her. Yeah, you're gonna feel bad now, aren't you? You better feel bad. The girl was gripping onto the railing and trying her absolute hardest to stand back up. Her knees were trembling. She looked like a newborn fawn or something. Her knee was oozing blood. Maybe she'd scraped it. Her face. I'd seen it before. Wasn't she the girl who'd transferred into my class last week? What was her name again? I couldn't remember. Oh, wow. She was crying. Did it hurt that badly? The fall had definitely been pretty bad, but not bad enough that she'd cry from it. There was nobody else willing to lend her a hand. After just barely managing to stand up, she bent forward and peered down at her knee. She must have been checking to see if she'd hurt it. The transfer student wiped away her tears, sat down her bag on the spot, and started rummaging around inside it. What's she looking for? I wondered. Suddenly, she raised her hand above her head in a triumphant manner. Clasped in her hand was a Band-Aid. Aw, that's cute. Our eyes met. The transfer student was red in surprise soon after, then hung her head. Regardless, she looked like she was okay, so I was sure she'd be fine without me. Thinking that, I hurriedly made my way to class. As per usual, I kept my head down and my gaze fixed on my toes. And, while still remaining silent, I took my seat. When I sat down, I remembered that the transfer student had said something to me on the day she'd transferred. I'm so happy we're in the same class, or something. I'd forgotten all about it after everything with Dimi, but I wondered what she'd meant by that. Yo, Taku! Still according to routine, Miss Me called out to me. Maybe he didn't have any other friends besides me. He'd always talked to me and to no one else, so I was starting to genuinely suspect that. Listen up. Okay, so yesterday, I saw these two sketchy old dudes going into the principal's office. Oh, he saw Bon. Huh? And so, when I saw that, Demi and I both went straight to try and eavesdrop on them, and we were totally shocked by what we heard. Those two guys were detectives. What? Detectives? Yeah, they were going over the whole school roster. They looked real serious. Maybe it's got something to do with New Gen? Maybe the true New Gen culprit was someone at this very school. I couldn't help it, but a face popped into my mind. Demi's. Oh, well, they did end up catching us when we were eavesdropping, though. I jumped. Speak of the devil. Holy crap. I felt my heart rate leap when I heard Demi's voice invade the conversation. I couldn't look up. I was too nervous. But this was a completely different kind of nervousness than last week's. That's because you decided it'd be a great idea to go and open the door. It's your fault. Oh, come on. I couldn't help it. I'd never seen a real detective before, so I was obviously a little excited. And then I just kinda did it. How the heck do you just kinda open a door? Thanks to you, we had to get questioned by those two jerks, too. What's wrong, Daichin? Got something you don't want the big, scary detectives to hear? Don't you? Gee, I wonder. Miss Mikun and Demi were having a conversation with my desk sandwiched in between them. They were completely ignoring my existence. But to be honest, I was grateful for that. Even if Demi did talk to me, I didn't have any faith that I'd be able to say anything back. I was hoping that the bell would ring before they got the chance to say anything to me. But when I glanced at the clock, I saw that there were still about 5 minutes until class started. Oh yeah, that reminds me, Taku. Did you see Kozue-chan on the way here? Kozue-chan? Who? Oh, right. I figured you probably wouldn't remember, 'cause it's you and all, but you really don't, huh? The transfer student from last week. Orihara Kozue-chan. Oh, so that was her name. Orihara Kozue. On the stairs. The stairs? I saw her. Oh, is that so? Looks like I'll be right back. Miss Mikun's voice gave off an aura of intense enthusiasm. He is not going to hit on her. Are you for real? Gosh dang it. These freaking guys in this, dude, they're such tools. Bond's my only hope of salvation for any guy character to be actually cool in here. I actually really like Bond. I think he's cool. I like his just kind of, not aloofness, but he's just his kind of like, I just don't really care about anything, but also like super seemingly intelligent. I like that. It's cool. I hadn't seen him this energetic since a few days ago when he'd found out that Fess was from the next class over. In other words, I'd never seen him give his all for anything except girls. Which reminded me that just last week, Miss Mikun had already gone to hit on the transfer student the moment she'd arrived. You really are incorrigible. You've got a girlfriend and everything. I hope you're real proud. Hey, Kozue-chan's seriously cute, don't you think? He asked me something I had trouble answering. I moved my head down ambiguously, which he apparently took as a yes. Right? I fell for her at first sight. All I want to do is protect her. All the boys agree. Every one of them says she's cute. The girls, on the other hand, can't stand her. She's got a real low reputation with them. Which is crazy, since she only just transferred. Despite that, though, they're all super quick to call her annoying or whatever else. This class has got way too many girls with crap personalities. Isn't that all kinda your fault, Daichin? I mean, isn't the main person who's calling her annoying your girlfriend? Yo, what the frick? Oh my gosh, yo. No. Oh, frick, because he's probably been giving his attention towards her or something. Oh no, dude. Ha. Come on, bro. Dang it. Yeah, I guess. What's your point? My point is that of course she'd find her annoying. Any girl'd be like that if they saw their boyfriend hitting on another girl right in front of them. Even I get into fights with her a whole bunch. She'll say stuff like, "Stay away from Daisuke-kun," and she's far from the only girl who's told me that. You serious? So you don't even know. Would it kill you to do even a little self-reflection? Nah, it's just way too tough out here for our popular dude. And there it is. My fault for expecting anything different from you. The enemy of all women. I'm not gonna cover for you anymore. You got that? Oh, hey. Orihara-san's here. Wait, doesn't she look kinda hurt? You're right. I wonder what happened. She'd gotten hurt back when I saw her on the stairs. I obviously wasn't going to tell them that, though. I was trying to avoid talking to Demi in any way possible. I'm gonna go check up on her real quick. Miss Mikun ran up to where the transfer student was. Thanks to that, Demi was the only one left standing close to my desk. Miss Mikun, please don't go. Okay, alright, another choice. Okay, so what do we do here? What do we do? What's the answer? What is the answer? If I click red, it'll probably go really bad, right? He'll probably, think he'll hear her in his delusion say something like, I'm gonna kill you because you hurt her, didn't you? You did this, and then everyone's gonna be like, oh, he hurt her? He's an abuser or whatever, It's probably what his delusion would turn into, right? If I click green, it's gonna be lewd. I can just about guarantee it. Not even public places are safe, I know now, so I'm just gonna stay neutral. I'm gonna stay neutral. Demi didn't say anything, but she didn't move away from my seat either. Considering the fact that I was hunched over so far on my desk that I could nearly sink my teeth into it, I couldn't see her expression. All I could see was her waist. But if that were true, then that would mean she had to be facing me. In other words, she was looking at me. Okay. I should probably say something. Maybe a greeting of some sort? But it wasn't like I ever greeted people normally. It would be even more unnatural for me to suddenly start doing it out of the blue like that. Maybe I should bring up the transfer student? But it wasn't like I ever chatted with Demi normally. It would be even more unnatural for me to suddenly start chatting with her out of the blue like that. I could thank her for the day before yesterday? No. Before I did that, maybe I should apologize for being so rude to her after she'd done so much to help me? I could also ask her about why she'd been there back then. Yeah, that's kind of what I want to know, too. I could ask her if maybe she'd hugged me because she liked me. Or I could ask her about why she was at the site of the crucifixion. No. None of these topics were conversation starters at all. What was I supposed to do? The silence put more and more pressure on me. I knew I ought to say something. And I knew it would be awkward to stay silent. But I still couldn't force any words out. I hated the 3D world so freaking much. I was tired of almost choking over just trying to talk. I just wanted to hurry up and go home to my comforting Seiratan. Hey, Taku? Demi's voice suddenly broke the silence. I jumped in surprise, and a shudder ran through me. I still couldn't look up. So, the day before yesterday, were you okay after I left? Demi's voice was quiet. I felt her breath faintly on my ear. When I looked up in surprise, I realized that she'd moved her face really close to mine, and she was now whispering in my ear. Demi's body was right next to mine. The soft, warm body that had hugged me in the middle of that road. My mind was going completely blank. The only thing I could think of was the sensation of Demi's body against mine. I was really worried. I didn't know whether you'd gotten home safe or not. I nodded frantically several times. Okay. I'm glad you're okay. Never do something dangerous like that ever again. You got it? Upon telling me that, Demi made to leave the classroom. I felt the sudden urge to ask her something. She'd just said something dangerous like that. I wanted to ask her, back then, what did it all look like to you? Considering the fact that she hadn't mentioned anything in particular, it seemed like she didn't know anything about the people temporarily disappearing from the streets of Shibuya, nor anything about the wheelchair-bound Shogun. I just realized, too, everything disappeared in Steins Gate, too, remember? Like, all the people just disappeared off the face of the earth when Okabe first time leapt, or excuse me, when the world line shifted. he noticed like there were people and then there was like nobody. I wonder if there's like a reason for having all of this like people disappearing stuff too. I wonder if there's any correlation there, or maybe the readers just. I mean, the writers. What am I saying? Maybe the writers really just like the whole everything disappearing right in front of your very eyes type of storyline. I don't know. Which would probably mean it had just been one of my delusions after all. That was why I wanted to ask her. But I didn't think I'd be able to look up and do so after all this time. Either way, I couldn't do it today. I couldn't even prepare myself to ask her. So, next time then. I'd ask her the very next time I came to school. Yeah. I should probably organize the questions I wanted to ask her before then. Oh my gosh, this poor child, man. He's so he just can't. This is like crippling types of anxiety right here. I have to organize my questions, watch him screw up the order, and then he's like, "Oh no, I was supposed to ask you how your day was before I said hello." Like that type of a deal, or hello before I said, you know what I mean. Huh? Look, Taku, Orihara-san's coming this way. The transfer student? Why was she coming over here? Was she going to come down on me for not helping her on the stairs earlier? But she didn't seem like the type of person to do that. Or maybe she wasn't coming up to me, but she actually wanted Dimi or something. The transfer student came up to Dimi, then stopped. She didn't say anything. What the heck? As long as Dimi was here, I couldn't raise my head. The transfer student's toes were fidgeting, but she still didn't try to say anything. I wonder if there's going to be a reason for why he can't look at Dimi. Like, maybe all this time she's been something else that like, she isn't or something? And by him not looking, he's been thinking she's normal? I don't know. I just wonder if that'll come into play later. Like, all that time, if he would have looked, something would have happened or something. Orihara-san, what's wrong? For some reason, the new student timidly then placed a single bandage on the edge of my desk. It was a fancy one, with a picture of that weird character, Ghetto Froggy, emblazoned on it. Huh? Huh? Was she giving it to me? How do I react? This Orihara Kozue girl was kinda weird. Oh no! Orihara-san! Don't cry! What? Was she crying? Why was she crying? Was it because I didn't say anything? But the transfer student hadn't said anything to me either. I don't think Taku's mad or anything. Dimi swooped in to cover for me. Come to think of it, that was a little bit odd. I didn't know next to anything about Dimi, and yet, she knew a lot about me. He just doesn't look people in the eye all that often. He's an introvert like that. So there's no need to be all shaky and nervous. Okay? Huh? Are you giving me a band-aid too? Thank you. With that, the transfer student bowed her head deeply to Dimi, and then she sped her way back to her seat. It was almost like she was running away or something. What does the band-aid mean? I have no idea what just happened, but I think you should probably take the band-aid, Taku. Why had she given it to me? Kozue-chan. A girl of few words, ain't she? I got the feeling Miss Mikun had come back. I gave her a tour of the school on her first day. Wow, you were real quick to get your hands on her. Hold on, I haven't done anything yet. Anyway, on that tour, we spent about an hour, give or take, running all over the place. And I was the only person talking the whole time. As you can imagine, I got pretty worn out. Oh yeah, and she's pretty quick to cry, too. Yeah, she really is. She started crying out of nowhere just a second ago. So I got all freaked out trying to figure out what the heck even happened. Just goes to show how innocent she really is. Hey, Taku, you get it, don't ya? You get how cute everything she does is, don't ya? If I were to put it into neat speak, she's moe as all heck. What's up? You need to take a crap? I shook my head from side to side as hard as I could. Taku, you haven't said a word for a real long time now. Yeah, that's because you're here. I wasn't ready for that. I had never talked to a friend who was also a girl all friendly before. Then again, I never had a single female friend before. Not throughout my entire life. When I tried to talk to Orihara-san, I was hit with this feeling. I just couldn't help but think it kinda wore me out, I guess. Girls really are ruthless towards their own gender, huh? Then again, I'll be the one to protect her, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, come on! Didn't you say less than a minute ago that hanging around her wore you out too? Shut it. Kozue-chan gives off the same vibes as Taku. Makes me not want to leave him alone if I can help it, you know? Oh, I guess I sorta understand that.